If you're looking for a decadent, bite-sized dessert for the holidays, I have the perfect solution for you here. These are my pumpkin mousse tartlets. They come together very easily. And you don't have to do them in these mini shells like I did, but it's going to be great on a holiday dessert table. So if you'd like to see how these are made, stick around because it's coming up next.
Recipes with Roy, it's time to get lean. Tasty creations, low calorie cuisine. Grab your apron, let's whip up some joy. Weight loss inspiration from recipes with Roy.
Hello friends, and welcome back to my kitchen. And if you are new here, welcome. My name is Roy, and I am here sharing recipes that can help me on a weight loss journey, and hopefully you as well. Now, if you saw the video for my Dubai chocolate protein mousse a couple of weeks back, this might look kind of familiar to you. This is going to be a very similar mousse type deal, but instead of the Greek yogurt, I am using pumpkin. And instead of putting them into ramekins, I'm going to make them into little tartlets. Now, I haven't done this before in this manner with the tartlet shells. I'm not quite sure just yet how many it will make, so we will know at the end, and I will have to adjust my calculations for bites, points, and calories accordingly. But I'm assuming right now it might make 30, which is the number of little tart shells that I have. So what is that I'm making? Well, you already know because you clicked on the thumbnail. I am making a pumpkin mousse tartlet. Now, it's still going to have some protein, but it won't have as much protein as the other because it's not using Greek yogurt. But these little tartlets would be great for a Halloween party if you're having one of those today. And by the way, happy Halloween. Or if you want to put it onto your Thanksgiving dessert table. Nice little bite-sized pies that will be delicious. And I had to have my little pumpkin out. Paul bought me this. I don't know if you can see the lights glowing inside of it. I could make it flash, but it's a little bit of a pain to get my finger in there and push the button. But I love this. Paul got this for me for my Halloween present. So I had to put that prominently in the picture, especially since I'm doing pumpkin. All right, so enough rambling. Let's go over the ingredients. I have here an 8-ounce container of zero sugar Cool Whip, and you can use no sugar added. You could use the fat-free, which I found to be comparable to the no sugar. But if you can't find it, you can use the reduced fat. It will just bring the bites and points up a little bit. And if you're not counting your points, then just use regular Cool Whip. Here I have a 1-ounce package of zero sugar butterscotch pudding mix, and you could use vanilla pudding mix. You could even use the cheesecake. I just like the extra bump of caramel flavor that the butterscotch is going to give to this, but you can use whichever flavor pudding you prefer. And here I have one serving, about 38 grams of vanilla protein powder. And I'm sure there are other flavors of protein powder out there that would complement this as well. But because I'm using the butterscotch pudding mix, I didn't want to overwhelm this with flavors, so I toned it down a little bit using the vanilla. Here I have 3/4 of a cup of pumpkin puree, and that is pumpkin puree, not pumpkin pie filling, because pumpkin pie filling already has spices and sugars and things like that in it. So make sure it's just plain pumpkin puree. Here I have 1/2 cup of almond milk, and you can use whatever milk you typically use. It doesn't have to be almond milk. And here I have 1 teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice, and that's definitely going to give us that pumpkin pie flavor, which is what we're all looking for at this time of year. Now, if you don't have pumpkin pie spice, you could get away with just using cinnamon, but I have a recipe for pumpkin pie spice in with my holiday spice blends, and I will card that here and link that down below so that you can get that. It's very easy to make your own spice mix. And here I have some mini phyllo pastry shells, and they're 15 in a box. That's standard. This is a store brand, but that's pretty standard no matter what. I have 2 boxes of those, which equals 30, and that's what I think I'm going to be able to fill with this. But as I said, we will see as I go along. All right, so those are all of the ingredients we need. Let me shuffle a few things around and we'll get started. All right, so I have my bowl and my whisk here. You could use an electric beater if you want, but it's really not necessary. And to this bowl, I'm going to add Cool Whip and the pumpkin. And just as I did with the Dubai chocolate protein mousse, I'm going to whisk these two things together. In the other recipe, I whisked the Cool Whip and the Greek yogurt together just to make sure they were combined well. You'll definitely know when this is combined well because it will be one uniform color. So just whisk that all together. And there we have one uniform pale orange color. So now I'm going to add in the almond milk. And again, this you want to carefully whisk together. You don't want to start whisking vigorously and then have the almond milk splash all over you. So I'm just going to kind of push that in a little bit and then start whisking. Okay, now that that's integrated, I'm going to add in the other ingredients. Pudding mix, protein powder, and pumpkin pie spice. And again, gingerly press this in just so that when you start whisking, you're not gonna get a flour shower all over you, although it's not flour, but you know what I mean. You don't want all of this powder all over you. So just slowly get that incorporated in, then start whisking more vigorously, and make sure that's evenly dispersed throughout. Okay, now I'm gonna set this aside and bring in my phyllo shells. Now these you will find in the freezer section with phyllo sheet, but these are already pre-made, they're already pre-baked. So really all you have to do to use them is take them out of the freezer for about 10 minutes and let them thaw slightly. Now, if you want them a little more crisp, you could put them into the oven for about 3 to 5 minutes at 350, and that will help get them a little crisper than they are right now, but it's not really necessary. So now we're gonna see how many of these I can fill. I have 2 spoons here. I do typically use a little scoop, and I do have a small one. I just don't know if it's small enough for these. So I'm gonna show you how I do it with spoons. So I'm just gonna take some of the filling and then just push it out of one spoon with the other spoon. And so I'm just gonna keep doing that. I got about half of the spoon covered and I'm gonna push that in. And as you see, I'm just leaving them in their trays. That way, I don't have to worry about them moving all over when I'm trying to fill them. So let me get these filled and we'll see how many we get. All right, so I have my tartlet shells filled, actually quite generously filled, and I still have quite a bit of filling left. So I'm going to say that you could actually get 60 little tartlets out of this, especially if you don't fill them as much as I did. I was overfilling them a little bit just because I thought I was going to have enough to spare and didn't realize I'd have that much extra. So I'm going to say this is going to be 60 tartlets that you can make with this. And you could do this with the Dubai chocolate protein mousse. You could do variations of that and use this. I'm also wondering if I could do an apple cinnamon with some applesauce instead of the pumpkin. Maybe a banana with the butterscotch, like a banana caramel, that might be good. So I'm going to try those. I haven't tried them yet, so I'm not saying it will work, but I'm gonna give it a try. Now you're gonna wanna set these in the fridge for about an hour at least to let that firm up, although you really don't have to. Also, if you are doing them for a party or a gathering, I would do them just before, like an hour or two before the party, just so that they're not sitting too long and the shell doesn't get too soft. But there you have it, a quick and easy dessert treat that you can put on any holiday table, on any party table, what have you. Now, because I'm saying this will make 60 little tartlets, I am giving you the nutrition facts for that. And these little phyllo shells are very good on bites and points. It is only 1 point for up to 5 of the little shells alone. So you could probably even do some like little egg bites in there. You'd obviously have to bake those for a bit, but you could probably do that as a little hors d'oeuvre and still not break the bank in bites, points, and calories. But speaking of those nutrition facts, each one of these is going to be 1 better balanced bite or WW point. Now you can actually have 2 and still stay at 1 point or bite. You could have up to 4 for 2 bites or points. So you can have a little bit more than just a taste. But if you were following calories, the calories for one of these would be 19. And if you were following macros, the fat would be 0.5 grams. Saturated fat would be 0.4 grams. Protein would be 0.8 grams. Carbs would be 2.9 grams. Fiber will be 0.1 grams. And sugars will also be 0.1 grams for one of these little tartlets. Now I'm going to share the recipe, of course, on the blog. I will have it separate from the Dubai chocolate one, just because it is a little different of a process using the pumpkin. And I will also be adding suggestions at the bottom for the little mini tart shells. You could also use a graham cracker crust. I am planning on doing a graham cracker crust myself that won't be using any butter, but I haven't tried that yet. But once I do, I will share it with you, and that might be another great way of doing this. But the recipe, of course, will be linked down in the description box. I will also link to the blog itself, to my Amazon storefront. If I use anything that you are interested in, it could be there. Also, my 2 stores and my social media is all down in the description box. So don't forget to go check that out for all sorts of information. So I have to go get these into the fridge so I can enjoy some later. I might have 1, maybe 2, possibly up to 4, who knows? But I hope you're gonna give these a try yourself very soon. And until next time, bye.